Hey everybody, Richard, I saw you vibing to Mama Mia X was BMX all day. I saw you vibing.
Yeah, I started hearing the beat and I'd be like, all right,
You gotta hear her verse, but she came in that hoe ruthless.
Indeed.
Probably one of the better rappers that was on No Limit. It was her, definitely her. You were like, do you know Mia X, Mama Mia?
Yeah, so Mia X, I remember seeing a lot of her stuff when I was growing up, and it was refreshing to kind of hear her pitch, kind of with like P and like between her and Fiend and like Mystical, but I think she really stood out. I watched a documentary actually about New Orleans rap not too long ago, maybe like within the last like 2 years or so. She was primarily featured pretty heavy on it, and it was just like she was basically, I remember she almost had like the #1 album in the country, but she was behind Celine Dion, and she couldn't she basically was like, well, I can't be mad at that, it's Celine Dion, so.
Right. She's really nice. She stay out here in Dallas, and she's a really nice person. Welcome y'all to Out Elite with Keeks. Here on another episode, we are going to get into some things. I am here. I have two special guests. I have my boy Lorenzo. Hey Lorenzo. And then I got the Rich Latta. Y'all know Rich Latta. Open Radio Zone. Rich Latta here. We are here to get into some things because it is Revolution Week. And we have a lot to talk about. We're going to give people a chance to get in the chat. If you're here in the chat, I know Sean is here regularly. A lot of them is going to come. And then, of course, we know when Raw start getting boring, that's when people show up. Like, for real, they start showing up around mid-Raw. So, it'll start getting packed in the chat. So, we're going to get into some Dynamite, some Rampage, Revolution, Wrestler of the Week, Goofy of the Week, okay? So we're gonna jump into this thing. Before we get started, how y'all doing today? Lo, how are you feeling today?
I'm feeling lovely today. It's a good Monday. Monday is a day I've always looked forward to since back in the day, which I'm sure all wrestling fans can relate to. So it's only right that your show, the hottest shit in the street, is on a Monday. So I appreciate being here tonight. Rich, what's up, baby? What's going on?
Man, I'm chilling, man. Had a long day myself. Had to serve my civic duty today. I had jury duty, but luckily nothing like came of it. I didn't have to, do anything. It was I got selected for some wild shit I can't even talk about, but there is no trial or anything. But besides that, I'm just cool and I'm glad to be here and excited about doing this. I've been looking forward to it for a couple weeks now.
Thank you guys for joining. So you went like Martin and rippity rip up. Will you?
So check this out. I had went on vacation at the end of January, right? And I actually, when I was sitting there, I was watching Martin at like 4:30 in the morning, and that episode comes on, and I think to myself, man, I've never been selected for jury duty ever, and like, I don't know why. Like, and I come home, first day back, I pull in the driveway, I check the mail, lo and behold, no pun intended, jury duty notice right there. So I was like, what are the odds?
Right. And then luckily, sometimes the ones that I get, they always end up canceling. So I was just like, okay, I got a day off.
Yeah.
Whatever. All right, so we're going to get into Dynamite. We're going to start off with, they opened it up with AEW All-Atlantic Championship match between they are former buddies, Willa Yuta versus Orange Cassidy. A great opener. Great storytelling a little bit. It looks like it may be hinting towards a Willa Yuta heel turn a little bit. What did you think about the match? I'm going to start with Lo first.
I thought this match was brilliant. Just the way everything ended up rolling out. Being a, East Coast tri-state guy myself, I've caught a lot of Wheeler, caught a lot of Orange. And quite frankly, AEW is a show that's definitely putting on for a lot of the regional talents that's standing out in each region, right? So to see these guys on television, for one, is like, it's there, But for me, the high spot of the match was the hug. Seeing Orange, you know what I mean, wrap his arms around that guy in the way that he did, and just seeing, you know, what the rest of the BCC was on, the type of shit that they was on in this particular show. We'll get to it. Heel turns, this and that to the third. I thought it was great, and it was a great opener to the show. That guy, you know, Claudio, man, you know, being daddy out there definitely was interesting. And I got a lot of heartfelt moments from that myself, being a son of a guy that was a coach, and, you know, physical touch in not so great ways takes place during times in which you're in front of a crowd of people and you're trying to do your best. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So I definitely feel Wheeler when it comes to that. But I thought this match was great, man. I definitely thought it was a great opener to the show.
What about you, Rich?
Man, I was really impressed by Orange Cassidy and Wheeler Yuta here. Like, when we all kind of saw this show on paper, this didn't look like the strongest lineup, and, you know, we'll get to it overall, but I thought the show ended up actually delivering, and these guys were the first guys stepping in the ring after last week, which, of course, like, was an episode that just drove everyone insane, I'd say, like, just not only from, you know, the rating, but just the content of the show itself. And, you know, people were riding that high of Elimination Chamber, and AEW's kind of judged in a way where I think it's basically like, you know, you can have, like, you know, 4 or 5 great things on the show, but people will zoom in on that one thing and really try to, like, blow it up. So these guys stepped in the ring, and I think they really just were answering the bell. They were in there hitting hard. Everything was, like, real smooth. And then you just kind of remembered how closely, like, these guys were linked, and, you know, Wheeler Yuta was with them before they built, you know, the promo up on Rampage the previous week. Wheeler Yuta's got this kind of thing going on where I just don't like him anymore now. like I think, like, he's just got this, like, it's like almost like he's trying to adopt that BCC attitude, but he's a punk doing it. So, but, you know, as far as the work in the match, loved it. I think Orange Cassidy is one of the best TV wrestlers, quite frankly, I've ever seen at this point. You know, you can take it back from, you know, he started wrestling in this company in 2020, and I think he's defended that belt 12 times now, if I'm not mistaken. Not even before this, it was like he was
a defending champion, basically.
He's a defending champion, and he wrestles, like, all his opponents. Like, he's very versatile, and you know, I think he has top of the card potential, honestly. And I wouldn't have said that, you know, not too long ago.
Yeah, because Orange Cassidy is, like, up there already on my probably top 10 of 2023 so far. He really has been working. And then plus the story between Orange Cassidy, because we know Orange Cassidy and Wheeler Yuta they was together. And then, like, the promo that he did prior, before the match, when he said that I was always your friend. I always want to be your friend. So maybe they could do something with this. I feel like they may touch on this a little bit between them two.
Yeah, I think his dynamic really needs to get explored with Trent, because that was, like, really where a lot of the smoke was. Like, hey, man, like, if we're going to get to the real smoke, it's going to be between Trent and Wheeler. Cassidy's more like damn, like, I thought we was cool, but, like, Trent was like, nah, man, I always wanted to bring something out of you. We didn't get to do it, so now it's smoke until we settle it. And we've all seen situations like that. Right.
So we won't take too much time because we have a lot to cover. So we're gonna jump straight to what happened afterwards. After that, we had the Ricky Starks segment, or the promo, where he is looking for an open contender, and then we end up having Jericho come out. And of course, we knew that it was going to end up being a Ricky Starks versus Jericho at Revolution. But this promo was a little bit fun, and it was better because I know a lot of y'all was tired of this. But I told people to just hold on because I know where they going with this. But it was a cute little callback that Chris Jericho did with the list that, you know, people like to recirculate every now and then online. So what did y'all think? Are y'all looking forward to this match between Ricky Starks and Jericho? Either or, yeah, one of y'all can start.
You go ahead, Lo.
Absolutely. This particular segment, you know what I mean, as far as television is concerned, was definitely very compelling. if you've been following the story of one Jericho and, Ricky Starks, you know what I mean? I'm a Jericho guy, you know what I mean? Been that way since I was a kid, since I saw him debut on Monday Night Raw. You dig what I'm saying? Back to Mondays, right? But in this particular segment, I was just really impressed with Ricky, with how he played the character and his motive and what he was trying to do and his goal, and pretty much kind of mentally backdooring Jericho, you know what I mean? And when it just came to, that zoom in with that wink and a nod, it was just priceless for me. You know what I'm saying? This is a match I'm definitely looking forward to. I think we're definitely probably going to get into some more details when we, kind of roll out the AEW Revolution card.
Yeah.
But just to see Jericho, right? And kind of the call back to the pin. You dig what I'm saying? That is like top 3 Jericho. The list is my shit. And I'm sure it's a lot of other people's. You dig what I'm saying? But when it's always wink and nods back to New York, I always, it's just a thing for me. You dig what I'm saying? Because I grew up in a house that was very WCW, very territory. And I was a WWF kid. You dig what I'm saying? But growing up, particularly seeing different things transpire in that company, different segments, different stories, and to see different things transplanted, into this particular company on primetime television with a guy like Chris Jericho, is just priceless. So priceless segment for me for sure.
Yeah. What about you, Rich?
It kind of reminded me back when Jericho did the segment with Scorpio Sky, which was a rip of, I believe, some Jerry Lawler type of Memphis thing, where it's basically the heel gets kind of gaslighted by the babyface into accepting the stuff. And I didn't know Lowe was such a big Jericho fan. I think it's about time me and Keeks done linked up as two of the most vocal Jericho advocates, that exist. I had this little thing called "Never Count Out Chris Jericho." It's about a 1-minute video that I recorded last year about this time when everybody was trying to say he was done, he was washed, and all this stuff. And he just went out and had a great year last year. But as far as this segment, I think it kind of did everything it needed to do. It wasn't the greatest segment in the world, but it was I think for the people that have been prone to kind of tear this feud down, even as they haven't really even allowed it to kind of to develop, just so many questions of why does Jericho or why does Ricky still want to fight him? He already beat him. I'm like, well, if someone puts you through a table after they whoop you fair and square, or you whoop them fair and square, aren't you going to want to do something else to him? I don't know. That's just me.
We've seen Stone Cold do it all the time.
Right.
We've seen this all the time.
Right. And
but, yeah.
And I think people I think are very protective over Ricky Starks at the moment, and I think they've kind of invented this thing with Jericho, this vortex and stuff like that. But how I look at it is, this is the most consistent television time that Ricky Starks has ever gotten in the history of this promotion.
Which what people wanted.
And it's with a top star. He's gonna have a carved out section on the pay-per-view. They could always mess it up at the end by having Paul White come out and attack him or something like that. But as far as what we've gotten, the regular TV, the Andretti intermixing, the sub stories of Guevara and Garcia, this has all been pretty good.
Very much. And I know people was referring to the pin, but it also kind of remind me of the segments that Jericho and The Rock used to have together. Because The Rock has also been open about how he loved to do just freestyle with Jericho because he's good at freestyling shit. So it kind of took me there when I saw it. I was like, they remind me of The Rock and Jericho, when they had those little segments around the time with the whole what was that pay-per-view that they did, the WWE versus WCW? I cannot remember.
Invasion?
Yeah.
Survivor Series?
Yeah.
They did. I think they wrestled at No Mercy 2001 and the 2002 Royal Rumble, if I'm not mistaken.
It was one of them. I was like, they kind of remind me when not the one when they was like going on. It's the one when they was going on Stephanie and Booker T and them in the ring.
Okay. Stephanie and Booker T. I think that's leading up to No Mercy 2001, if I'm not mistaken. Somebody will check us in the comments.
Yeah, the Vaughn already did. That's the WWE fanatic. But yes, Rich, I gotta have you on here because I will do a Jericho episode.
I'm there. Say no more.
Jericho episode. Yeah, I'm doing. Everybody asked me to do one. I'm gonna do one. I said I gotta get the top Jericho fans to do one with me. So I was like, yeah, I gotta get Rich on here for that one. But yeah, I agree with both of y'all. This is what everybody wanted. Everybody wanted Ricky Starks to have like a major match at a pay-per-view. We got that. Y'all want to see him on TV all the time. You got that. So it's really nothing you should be complaining about right now. Like this, you asked for, you got it. So.
She been that and did that. Could be a corporate lawyer or a hood. She's a ghetto type broad in her life.
Yep. We riding.
Project Pat, man. What?
Look, y'all ain't see the footwork. You know,
right.
y'all ain't see.
Front
Play
man.
it one more time, Graham. Play it one more time.
She been that and did that. Could be a corporate lawyer or a hood. She's a ghetto type broad in her life.
Hit that sassy
Omarion
spin.
could never.
Hit that sassy spin on y'all boys too.
Omarion could never.
Neo, you can't do it.
We saw that versus.
Okay, so next on the card that ended up happening was the Acclaimed and versus Big Bill, and I call him the evil Frank Ocean. The first, it's all love.
My guy, Pittsburgh.
It's all love, but he did look like evil Frank Ocean when he had the dye. This was another fun match on the card. To me, it's just showing that the Acclaim is still, the top tag team. People are still riding for them. They haven't lost their momentum, even though they don't have the tag titles, but they still haven't lost their momentum. So it was another fun match. And Max Caster opened up with a freestyle that was so fucking funny. So this time I'm gonna start with you, Rich. What did you think about this match?
I thought the match was cool. A lot of kind of good interplay. I think Big Bill's a pretty good tag team wrestler. He's someone I enjoy watching. I'm glad he got a second chance and everything. When the Acclaim came out, I got the same feeling as you, Keeks. It was like, man, he's got it still over. So I think it kind of was the perfect time to get the belts off of him. I died laughing. I was like, I fucking love these guys, and it was they just made me smile. Like Max is a real clown with the lyrics sometimes, and I'm big into Bowen, so this was cool.
What about you, Lau?
From the jump, let's talk about that interest. I'm a big Acclaim type beat guy. I will say on record on this show that I wasn't a guy that was on the Acclaimed per se all at once at first. You know what I'm saying? I'm a big Swerve guy as well. So I had some things from my younger years still lingering. You dig what I'm saying? When that particular feud was taking place. But I'm definitely familiar with Max. You dig what I'm saying? Definitely familiar with Bowens. Definitely got to tip a hat to their work, on the scene and everything. And, to fast forward, I'm a lyrics guy. I'm definitely a rap guy. So if you get that over with me, you A1. But I definitely love the reference to Zoe. You dig what I'm saying? Perusing MLW these past couple of weeks as they've been here in the town, seeing that guy's person is always a pleasure. You dig what I'm saying? That's a guy that's definitely made headlines in this particular industry. So to see a reference from him in the rap form and knowing that Zoe is a guy that is a microphone guy as well and does his thing with rhyming as well, it was just like a diss track, for the fact that Bill was in the ring. But particularly for this match, I was impressed for what Bill and Lee were able to show what they could do as a tag team. I think that Lee, being on this primetime spot, definitely has come up on Rampage and on Dark and things like that. Being in this spot tonight was definitely great for him. I definitely think that he showed more of what he can do. And it definitely made me proud to be, a Pennsylvanian and to still be supporting that guy and to see him on primetime television. But I thought the match was great. You dig what I'm saying? I pretty much thought that this was a flush episode of Dynamite. You dig what I'm saying? But in this particular match, I was definitely proud to see Lee shine and to see him alongside a guy such as Bill and knowing his tag team resume. I was definitely impressed. And that was the moment for me for sure. Hilarious.
Rich, you said that you feel like it was the perfect time for them to take off the belt. Could you elaborate a little bit on that? Because I've been seeing that take, and I'm starting to see that maybe that is true, because we do see when people have the titles, they do start to lose the momentum.
Right.
So may you just speak on why you think why you said that.
Well, for me, it goes back to the Guns. So like if you go back to last summer, the way the tag team division has kind of played out since then, I think kind of dictates and the way they rode the popularity of the Acclaim. Like essentially they had like a mid-card tag team feud between the Guns and the Acclaim that heated the Acclaim up to get the graduation to take on Swerve and Lee. They had the 3-match series, went over like gangbusters, but the whole time the Guns were in the background, still messing with FTR, still, kind of being a consistent presence every week, teaming up with, I think it was Swerve and Lee they teamed up with, if I'm not mistaken. And then when they got that victory over FTR, I thought alarm bells should have been going off like, oh, okay, so they're about to do something here. I think taking the belts off of the Acclaimed, at this point, they had already beat FTR. They beat Swerve in Our Glory. They had pretty much cleaned out the rest of the tag division. And I think you take it away before it get. And they also had a very fun little series with Jeff Jarrett and Jay Lethal. I think you take it away and kind of you take the gas pedal off of them, because I don't think they need them anymore because they're over without the championships. The Guns it did a lot of work to help a lot of other teams out, and they're kind of throwing them something too. I hear these guys are well liked, very hard workers, and I think they've shown a lot of charisma in their promos. Maybe not so much like their ring ability. I think that leaves something to be desired for some folks. But as far as like the Acclaim go, they're good whether they're with the belts or without the belts at this point. They're established. And if it was me, this entire year in the tag division, if you're not gonna end up putting the Bucks back in, FTR status still up in the air, how long can you stretch it out? Like really like having the rechase again for the Acclaim to win the titles. I think people will be way into that.
That's a good point. I just wanted people to hear your point of view on saying that. Of course. And then after that, we end up having a Christian promo with Tony. And then we did see Jungle Boy try to attack him, but that shit didn't work. Christian got it back in blood. Like I said, Christian is the heel of heels in AEW. I don't care what nobody say. The man, he's the man. And I'm a Christian fan. Shout out to the peepers that's in the chat. I am the captain of the peepers. I love Christian. He can do no wrong. What are you looking forward to in this Christian and Jungle Boy or Jack Perry segment? Lo, you can start.
I'm definitely looking forward to Jungle Boy becoming more of a jungle man. Right.
Jungle man.
So walk with me real quick, right? In this particular feud, we have someone such as Christian, right? Mm-hmm. Doing things and saying things that are very bad, right? We all know, I definitely got to go with references, Canadian wrestlers, this and that to the third, vice versa. When families get involved, right? No Sami Zayn. When families get involved, it becomes a particular type of story for people that are a part of families, that have situations with their families, that have had someone else step in and kind of mess up the situation with their family. And to see Christian, we all know what's going on in this particular feud. But to see Christian perform in the way that he is, they definitely weren't beatable. He's the turtleneck god at this point. It's like, better than any college professor that I've seen, or high school or elementary.
Uh-huh.
But I'm definitely looking forward to the man Jack Perry, right, become who he is supposed to become, right? I definitely loved the fact that he was such a great TV draw when his company first commenced. And to see where he's come since that time and to kind of see the growth until now, everything with Soros and everything now with Christian. I just want to see him do it, man. I just want to see him get a little nasty as he's done, you know what I mean, and as he's shown, you know what I mean, black trunks and everything, feathers on the boots, you know what I mean. It's all good for me, but I just feel like, in this particular match, Jungle Boy is going to become a Jungle Man. And that's what I'm looking forward to at Revolution.
What about you, Rich? You feel the same way?
Yeah, for me, like the Jungle Boy Christian thing is like it has a thread that ties literally back to the inception of the promotion, like with the whole Jurassic Express unit, and this is kind of the culmination of that thing, and this has been going on for years. People talk about long-term storytelling. This is I thought the cage match that Jungle Boy had with Luchasaurus was incredible. Obviously, they had to put everything on hold for Christian's I think it was a tricep injury, if I'm not mistaken, and it's kind of peaking back at the right time because Jungle Boy is kind of needing he's doing the thing where he's signaling where he wants the championship, and Christian's like an ideal opponent. He's such a smart wrestler, and he wrestles to he's so aware of his role. Like, all right, if you want to use him on top, you can, but if you want to use him in the mid card, he's perfect for that right now. And there still hasn't been there hasn't been a lot of slippage for anything like that. For him, he's a really detestable heel, but I think everyone still likes him anyway. But he's gonna bust his ass to really legitimize Jack, and Jack's I think he's gonna get a summer title shot, so he'll probably get the win there. And as Lo said, it's like taking those steps forward, you love. I think what wrestling is built on is watching young wrestlers find themselves, and really that is what makes people connect with them. They find themselves and they take those steps of growth, and he ain't a pillar for no reason. That dude is excellent, and he's been excellent for a long time. So really looking forward to them getting that classic that 20-minute slot and going crazy, because the Jungle Man not gonna miss on this one. This is arguably he's had a championship shot before, kind of like a one-off, and he faced Kenny Omega one time, but I would consider this one a much more important match for his career at this moment.
I've been saying for a while that they've been prepping Jungle Boy because Jungle Boy is going to be the one. I feel like if they end up taking the title off of MJF, it may go to Jungle Boy, but then my theory changed because Adam Cole is back, so. But Jungle Boy is definitely the one to look forward to during the summer because they definitely prepping him up. So, and that's obvious. After that, we end up having the Bryan Danielson promo. It started off pretty, it would start off cool, and then he got the booze when he mentioned William Regal because, like I've said all the time, AEW fans, we are loyal to our day ones. We already suspected that man sent that man over there for a reason.
Man was a op.
Yeah, so he sent that man over there for a reason. So when he said that name, Bryan Danielson almost got booed with him. So MJF kind of came out in the right time, and then we end up getting the segment between those two. How are y'all feeling towards the main event for Revolution between Bryan Danielson and Scarfman? Lo, you can start first. What?
So, my short form answer for me is, thinking about the Young Bucks and basketball, and we're in that season. It's the second half of the NBA season. Mm-hmm. American Dragon in 30, man. American Dragon in 30 minutes. This is my thing, right? With the whole Iron Man thing, we referenced, Canadian wrestlers a little bit earlier. People might have thought of certain things, but certain things might have went over people's heads. MJF is a good wrestler. He's good. He's really good. I was trolling a little bit a few weeks ago when I said, can this guy really go a full 60 with the dragon. You know what I mean? And we'll get to some match stuff, but I'm impressed. I'm impressed with what I've seen over the past few weeks with Max Jake Freed, as I refer to him on Twitter. Excuse me.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, he's getting better. He's been in the gym. We see the work. Definitely condolences to his situation. I'm sure we'll probably get through a little bit of that. But yeah, I really think the way it's going to come off on camera, I don't know. I don't know. He might retain. He just may retain. You got to see. You know what I mean? I'm a guy that necessarily didn't want him with this title, at this particular point. You know what I'm saying? Maybe he could have got it at Revolution. Right. But we're going to see, man. I just think that from a wrestler standpoint, wrestling, catch wrestling and all of that stuff, chain wrestling, I don't know. I just think that, Danielson really going to watch this guy. But we're going to see what the result actually is, how it comes off on pay-per-view television.
What about you, Rich? You feel the same way?
I kind of struggle with this feud, the start of it, from kind of what you were saying, Keeks, like with the heavy Regal involvement. I would see Danielson start using his moves and the crowd fall silent, and it would just be like, why are we like we're not stupid, like we know like what happened like with this guy, and I think he's Max as like from a week to week promo perspective, like he's been up and down. I feel like he's been 1 week he's just been Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. Like he'll come out there and be like, okay, he's hitting right now, kind of much in the way he did throughout the first half of 2022, and then the other times it's just like he'll fall prone into like low hanging fruit stuff, like the stuff he did with Takeshita. I hated all that shit. I was indifferent to the car crash promo, but it got a lot of people like, what is he doing? Like, and it's almost just like, what does this have to do with Danielson? And he would, not really like get to exactly where you really wanted it. Meanwhile, Danielson's having all these great matches, but a couple times he's wrestling baby faces, and then the baby faces are getting cheered over him. So they kind of fixed that towards the end of that Gauntlet series when they start bringing Thatcher in, Cage, and Roosh towards the end. It was like, okay, the alignments are proper. People will cheer Bryan Danielson. Like I was worried about. I thought people didn't want to cheer Danielson as a babyface, but that turned out to not be the case. And I think the last 2 weeks of this feud have really corrected the ship on this one, especially with the last week. We're talking about incredible pull apart brawl, and he knocked them smooth out, and I think both guys like delivered strong on the mic. Danielson was in his pseudo hometown, and Max showed some ass, and like if you look at when he first won the title, he was struggling to get booed. Everybody just wanted to cheer the guy, and I think it was excuse me, and it was going to be really difficult, and he's worked very hard to turn those reactions around. As far as the match, like Lo was saying, like he is a very good wrestler. They do this thing where they don't let him wrestle and they don't let him, do all this stuff. And Danielson's like built for 60 minutes. Is exciting to me? Is like, oh yeah, I know Kenny Omega and Bryan Danielson are booked for a 60-minute Iron Man match. Let's lock in. We're not getting that story. Like they're going to be doing a lot of arm stuff. There's going to be a lot of they have a lot of story threads, I think, to tie from. Though, like Danielson is a master, he'll carry there will not be a bad 60-minute Bryan Danielson match. But I think MJF's winning at the end of the day, and they're not cutting his legs off that fast. They put way too much into him.
Right. I don't expect him losing it at Revolution, but if he do, that's going to be a shocker to me. I feel like he probably retain all the way into All Out, and then end up dropping the title. But I don't see him losing at Revolution. If anything, he probably will win in a schemy way, knowing him. So
you got plenty of opportunities to cheat, unlimited falls to do so.
Right. And then after that, we had the tag team battle royal. I'm not gonna say all who participated. If you saw it, you saw it. If you didn't, that's on you. If you want the full detail, listen to Public Enemies, not me, because I ain't about to say all of them people. Okay. But the winner, we did end up having Jeff Jarrett win for the team of Jay Lethal and Jeff Jarrett. So they're gonna be part of Revolution. Bree Who for the hoes. Do it, Graham. Shantice in the chat. Shout out to Jeff Jarrett. I've seen it all the time on Twitter that he is one of the best signing that Tony has done in this previous 2022-2023 year. I have been enjoying Jeff Jarrett in AEW. I feel like it's kind of time for Tony to start trusting Jeff Jarrett creativity wise. What did you think about this win? Some people was upset. I wasn't.
How could you be upset? How could it's double J? Like the fact that we're still getting this man at this age, you know, and for me, I wasn't necessarily always the biggest Lethal guy. I'm gonna put it out there, right?
Oh, me.
You know what I mean? I look to make some of those statements, you know, whose guy I am, whose guy I'm not. I get it, right? It's wrestling. But to see where this guy is at this age, you know, knowing, you know, family situations and things like that, I'm very impressed. And I want to shout out the Almanac show at this moment because during their award show for the end of 2022, they had an award on their show, different nominations for Hustler of the Year. And for me, Jeff Jarrett was my personal Hustler of the Year. You know what I mean? I've been always very impressed. I'm very very critical, of the territory situation back in the day, right? But I definitely, yes, absolutely, right. There's an image somewhere floating on Twitter with him with all of the AEW gold, right? So definitely, I definitely agree. But you know, I've always been big on Jerry Jarrett and the whole Jarrett legacy in pro wrestling. And to just see, you know, how far he's come is definitely impressed me, and to see again where he is with this particular company. You know, I just love it. You dig what I'm saying? And I just want to see what him and Jay Lethal do more as a tag team, moving forward, knowing that, you know, the guys that I really root for, all in all, when it comes to this tag team stuff in the past couple of years, maybe coming back soon, winking or not. I just want to see, you know, what type of smoke, you know, they'll encounter.
What about you, Rich? What you feel about Jeff Jarrett and Jay Lethal winning?
So I'm not going as far as saying we need to strap up Jeff Jarrett or anything, but he's definitely a guilty pleasure of mine. On One Nation Radio, on my podcast, we have the aptly named Jeff Jarrett Finesser of the Year award, and he actually we broke the rules and allowed him to be nominated for his award for 2022. And just looking at all the things he did, he beat all those scrubs and never will be's and GCW and never gave the win back. Holla. I'm up out of here. Went to the NWA, got a ref job, got a check out of them. Went back to WWE, got an office job out of them, was in the SummerSlam match with Street Profits, and I believe the Usos doing the referee thing. That's the day after that. It was the weekend of Jeff Jarrett. He was in Ric Flair's last match. He did that whole angle with him. He convinced Tony Khan to give him a backstage job. Then he kept convincing Tony Khan to put him on TV. This man's an ultimate finesser. He never loses. It was always my prediction that he would end up running WWE one day, but it hasn't shaken out quite like that. But Jeff Jarrett is ultimately a guilty pleasure for me here, and I think he's absolutely hilarious, especially like with the last Outlaw thing. He's kind of reinvented himself. You know, he swings those punches all the way from Memphis. They come down, they still look great. He's in great shape still. I don't think you need to make him a main eventer or anything like that, but in the middle of the cards, he knows all the tricks. He just like starts yelling at the crowd. Watch, you know, a lot of, you know, obviously the Ric Flair's last match thing is very polarizing, right? But if you watch Jeff Jarrett's performance in it and how he walks to the ring, he just exhibits like ultimate crowd control, and he's an old school worker to the core, and it's so funny watching him because it's almost like this piece of wrestling that doesn't exist anymore.
Right. If you are following Taco Champions on the chat, Harsh, she's the biggest Jeff Jarrett fan. So Harsh, you got to come up with the Jeff Jarrett fan base name, because people, we still some said the Brehuins. I heard Brehuins. The Slap Nuttons. So Shantice, you got to come up with the Jeff Jarrett fan base, because she was the one that was like, people made fun of me for being a Jeff Jarrett fan because, as she said on my show before, she was like, "Cause Stone Cold told everybody to hate him, so everybody started hating him for no reason." So, Shantice, you got to come up with the Jeff Jarrett fan base because he is appreciated in AEW, and AEW fan base do appreciate Jeff Jarrett. But then she said, "Put her comment up, Graham." Jeff Jarrett better than the AEW champion now. The slap nuttins, yes, the finesse lordins, finesse lords. Okay, and then we're gonna move on to Tony Khan's announcement. He finessed y'all to tune in to AEW.
Speaking of finessing,
that could have been an email. It could have been on the AEW page, but he wants to let y'all know that we having the AEW All Access after the show Dynamite. So we managed to get the fucking slapboxing off of TV. And now we have AEW All Access. So we're going to see some superstars backstage and see how their life is. Reality TV. And this is also another way for Warner Media to let everybody know, because they see what's going on. We behind AEW. We behind them. They making us money. They making the demos. We behind them. They're not going nowhere. So, Rich, what do you think about the announcement that could have been email?
I think it was a cool. Tony looked very happy delivering it, and he was like, "I'm here, and I'm gonna get the hell out the way." Adam Cole, come in here and talk to these people because. TK may have had to attend to something else at the moment, but as far as like the show being announced, it kind of looks like a direct replacement for the Rose to the Top show to me. I think it is kind of interesting to see who's involved with it. Eddie Kingston on reality TV, sign me up.
Right.
I know like they got a workout edit in his language in this thing. I think watching what Adam Cole probably went through. And the fallout of his concussion and seeing Britt, like that's going to be an interesting dynamic to kind of watch. Sammy's in this thing, and maybe this will be what kind of brings people back to Sammy. Maybe he gets to show his real personality to people and be like, man, I mean, all this dude does is have great matches. Maybe we were too hard on him, so maybe there's a chance for that. But I'm interested in checking it out. I'll throw it on. Why not?
Yeah. What about you, Lo? You gonna tune in?
I'm gonna definitely tune in. You know what I mean? I'm all for behind the scenes wrestling content, real life stuff, what's going on in the actual lives of these people, right? The human condition, relationships, family, this and that to the third. But I definitely will say that in the past few months, I've definitely caught wind of what Sammy has been doing on their YouTube channel, right? Mm-hmm. And it's kind of like, with a lot of different people in the entertainment industry, it can kind of be like this audition for if you're really built or made for, primetime television. And we see that they're in the iteration of being on All Elite Wrestling. But to see them, be on All Access, I'm definitely looking forward to. And with the particular announcement, I kind of figured it would be more so for the people to see someone else say something. So for me, it was really about, the return of Adam Cole, which, New Japan and all these other things. Like I've loved the work that he's done, Ring of Honor, this and that to the third, Kyle O'Reilly, et cetera, et cetera. But
and they led in that variety story with Cole and Britt too.
Yeah, you know what I mean? So it was a lot of good plugins for the particular program. I think a lot of people are definitely looking forward to it. You know what I mean? Whether they're going to hate watch it or not, whatever the case is. But I think a lot of people are definitely looking forward to it. So am I. You know what I mean? I'm definitely just ready to see what Sammy and Tay does, on primetime television, as they've been so entertaining and captivating on their YouTube channel.
Right, because even when Cody and Brandy had their show, people's favorite part of that show was the backstage segment that Cody had with other wrestlers. That we was able to tap into Ricky Starks. We was able to tap into who else he had on there? It was Ricky Starks. QT Marshall, but QT
I
Marshall.
think
It
Mox
was
was on there
Yeah,
at one point.
Moxley,
Mm-hmm.
the Jay Cargill and Red Velvet shit. What
The
they
Yeah.
had,
original slap
they
fight.
personal shit that they had. Like people was more tuned in to their like the actual wrestlers than Cody and Brandy. Well, except Brandy because they was tuned into that little drama that Cody's sister and Brandy. Of course, what me as a woman, I was into that part. It's like, oh shit, I love drama.
Yeah. Reality TV.
That's why I be trying to say with the Miz and Maurice, they gotta have some type of drama in their show because they main moneymaker is in jail now. So y'all gotta do something because y'all not beating Chrisley knows best. That's why USA ain't take them off yet because that's their moneymaker right there. Like
Clockwork. I'm sure they'll be on tonight.
Miz, you gotta be doing some cheating or something. Y'all gotta do something. This positivity do not sell. Y'all gotta have to have some type of spark, something. Some type of drama. But yeah, that could have been I get why he did it. He probably had to do it. TBS probably told him to do it. We get it, whatever. It could have been an email. After that, we end up having the main event, Jon Moxley versus Evil Uno. Evil Uno impressed me a lot. I haven't seen him wrestle much. I can admit to that. But seeing what he did against Jon Moxley, I'm impressed and I want to see more of Evil Uno. What did you guys think of this main event? I saw mixed reactions on the timeline, but I'm impressed with Evil Uno. So what did you think, Lo?
I thought that this was a so you know how they say you put a bow on things, like it wrapped it up with a bow. Right.
Mm-hmm.
This movie ended, this thing ended, and whatever took place, towards the, crescendo, coming down from that and whatever happened in that story, pleased the audience in a particular way, and it wrapped the bow around it. All throughout this particular match, the whole segment, the bow that was being wrapped around the segment was in barbed wire, and we'll get to that, right? But for me, I'm really impressed with Uno and, the conversation with Hangman. And, again, this was a banger of an episode, right? I think that a lot was done in this particular episode where it's like, yo, we really need a banger this week, right? And whether people liked it or not, I think it definitely popped the ratings, right?
Yeah.
But to see Evil Uno do what he did on primetime television, as he's been doing for pretty much most of his career, and doing it at this stage, in the midst of the weight loss and everything like that, showing what he can actually do against a guy with a stature such as Jon Moxley on this particular show, where Moxley is in his thing as a pro wrestler and as a star of this particular show, as being a part of, BCC. I just thought that he showed true grit. You know what I mean? And it was very anime. It was very, the mask, the crimson dripping, you know what I mean? Like all out on his arms. You dig what I'm saying? It's a very gruesome thing to be put in that type of, ECW-esque, CZW-esque things, on primetime television on TBS, right? But yeah, man, Mox is getting real nasty, man. And it's, it's a lot going on. But it's definitely pushing him and Hangman's thing. And I just thought that it was just perfect to, lay into what's about to happen in the, quote unquote Texas death, at Revolution.
What about you, Rich?
My timeline was exploding during this match. This with Uno, it was like, what is he doing here? This isn't a main eventer. This isn't, who we want to see. Why did they have him in there with Moxley? Moxley's going to kill him. Like, we heard all the stuff last week. But, your mileage on the Dark Order may vary. There are people that are tired of seeing them. There are people that, think they're just this relic of this bygone era. But the Dark Order means something to a lot of fans, like because it was something that really, like, the connection with Mr. Brody Lee. It was something that was that kept people going. I think during the pandemic, they created a lot of laughs, like on the backstage stuff they were doing in BTE. Half of their members have been like either let go or chose to leave the company, and people were just kind of holding on to something from them. And I think Uno just put together like just one of the most passionate kind of performances I've seen. It felt like a mask versus mask match, like in Mexico or something.
Yes.
Where dudes is like bleeding through the mask, and
Yes. Penta.
we right, and we've seen what Moxley has done to Dark Order dudes wearing masks before, like what he did to Preston Vance. So it was just there was a spot where Uno did the senton front flip off the top rope to the outside of the ring. I screen capped that, and then when the rating came out, it looked like the Jordan logo or something like that, like in an episode. Like, but I thought this was just like narratively a really big match for the Page and Mox storyline. But on a personal note, for Evil Uno, it's cool to see him to get a chance to do that. He wore his A+ gear that he brought out. He brought the new wear. He was like, "Fuck it, I'm letting the chest out. You know, I'm gonna just come out here and be me. I ain't covering nothing up, and we gonna run. And I'm gonna show my ability. And
Yes.
if this is the peak of his career, awesome or whatever. But I think this guy should." Like between last week where he cut the great promo and this week he can definitely be useful in a lot of different situations. And what else can you say about Moxley? Like Moxley's like he's a savage. Like he's and
Destroyed that boy.
yeah, he fought at the end of the day. He fought them up real good. But going forward into the match with Hangman, like I love this rivalry. Like this has just been like such a modern, macho, but at the same time vulnerable type feud from both guys, and they're both baby faces. They're not necessarily telling you who to pick, but BCC has shown more aggressive tendencies of late. You like the Dark Order, everybody loves the Dark Order, and Moxley's kind of just standing in opposition of them, like, yo, I don't want to hear your excuses no more. Like that, I don't want to, I don't want to hear, what your shortcomings personally or mentally are. It's time to run it like that, because that's what I do. So come to Texas Deathmatch. I think we're going to get a match of the year candidate.
Maybe the match of the night on Revolution, to be honest with you, Moxley and Adam Page, because that's the most anticipated match of that
They're going to kick the shit out of each other. It's going to be a bloodbath. Right.
So we'll get in a little bit of that. We're going to run through Rampage. So Rampage started. We had the Young Bucks versus Aussie Open for the opener of Rampage. Great tag match, very fun. Aussie Open pulled. They pull out the best in Young Bucks, and Young Bucks, of course, pull out the best in their opponents. I enjoyed this match. I had to rewatch Rampage, to be honest with you, but I did remember this match. This match did stood out for the night. Me personally, I thought it would probably be the main event of Rampage, but hey, it was the opener, I guess. Rich, I'm gonna start with you. What did you think of this tag match?
Well, yeah, like with Rampage, like it's kind of formatted like the old Saturday nights main events are. Like whatever the real main event is does come on first typically, because like you can see no one's sticking around, like, or it's less of a likely chance for them to stick around until 11. But I think the Bucks and Aussie Open, like I've been watching like Matt Jackson kind of move around. I feel like he's struggling moving around right now. He's still doing a lot of athletic stuff. Nick's, I think, is explosive and athletic as ever. I think Young Bucks and Aussie Open have a better match in them. Even that being said, they had the crowd going crazy in this. Like, Bucks are my team. Love those guys, and I love Aussie Open as well. And I could watch these guys wrestle any day of the week. Glad we got to just get this kind of out of nowhere. And maybe, this is something that, like, Kenny was out there as well. I was looking for some type of tie-in with possibly, like, Will coming back to eventually see Kenny with, maybe Forbidden Door coming up. But, yeah, as far as the match, like, this is an awesome match to put on a Friday. Did well in the rate to recover the ratings. And I think, yeah, our commenter just put up Aussie Open needs to be signed. They put out a tweet which kind of led to this appearance. And what do you know? Like, New Japan doesn't have them locked down right now. AEW's like bringing them in now, kind of taking a look at them. Like, if it was me, like, I don't know, man, I wouldn't be letting these boys out of my sight without contracts or something on the table and be like, yo, right, you can work New Japan, but we have you, because Kyle Fletcher is a super long-term prospect that I think you definitely want to get in, in the door if you're TK.
Right. And to add to what you're saying is you can tell Matt's back is starting to kind of affect him a little bit.
It's the way he's
it's
just
he's
moving
wrestling
around.
injured. He's definitely wrestling hurt.
Yeah, something's going on. Like right
yeah,
now.
he's wrestling just like Kenny was when Kenny was attached to fucking duct tape and glue and other stuff. But it's something going on because the way that he even walks, like he's
he's waddling kind of.
Yeah, like something is hurting. But Lo, what did you think about the match?
I thought the match was dope. I really appreciated the problems that Aussie Open caused for the Elite. You know what I mean? I love Kenny at ringside. You know what I mean? I'm definitely big on the Elite, always have been. And my thing is, you know, the support that those three provide to each other. Hopefully we get a little bit of that back, you know, when Cole comes back, right? But to definitely tease, you know, Elite Empire stuff with having Kenny at ringside, as Rich said, I definitely wanted to see how much this will open up or open things back up with Will. But they cause problems, you know what I mean? Some definite issues for the twins, you dig what I'm saying, in this particular match. But as, you know, a commenter just said, like, I definitely want to see Aussie Open signed ASAP. The stuff from, you know, a few months ago with Kenny and Will and everything, man, definitely golden. And to still be kind of digging into this thing. And definitely, you know, impressed me to open up a show such as Rampage on a Friday night where too many people might not be home, but if you are home, you're going to catch this one. And if you wasn't home, you're going to want to see this one when you come back in the crib.
Right. And then we had the hint of House of Black. They've been hinting for 2 weeks that that's who they want. And I believe they did make it official. So we're definitely getting the House of Black versus the Elites at Revolution, which I'm also looking forward to that match as well. So we had that happen. And then also after that, we end up having a backstage segment with the Guns and Evil Frank Ocean, and they end up attacking the Best Friends. So we may see the Firm versus Best Friends rival because I think that's where they're getting at with that. So we're not going to take too much on that. Lance Archer is back in action.
Bundles too.
I'm a Lance Archer fan all day. I know who braided his hair. I'm cool with her. So Dallas stand up all day long. It's good to see Lance Archer. I feel like they could do more with him. They could start putting him on. I think he will be beneficial in ROH. What do you think about Lance Archer, Lo? I'm gonna start with you.
I think Lance Archer is the guy. You know what I mean? I'm definitely big on New Japan. You know what I mean? As I've been, you know, hooked on it. You know, especially these last couple of years. Definitely got hooked on it. You know, last few years of high school into college. But definitely, I was waiting. You know what I mean? I've been waiting, as you know, a wise named Joe Budden once said. And to see, you know, just him with a little bit of different swag this time, you know what I mean? I'm definitely all for it. And I'm just pretty curious to who he might be a threat to going forward. What do y'all think?
I don't know.
I
wouldn't mind seeing a him versus Hobbs rival. To be honest with you, I wouldn't mind that.
Yeah, that's hard.
What about you, Rich?
I think Lance Archer's always kind of been like supremely talented, especially like from 2019 going forward. Kind of broke out in Dallas, ironically, where you from, in a match against Will Ospreay, and from then on, he's always been someone that I considered on the short list for best big man in wrestling. Of course, in AEW, like the way the wins and the losses are, TK kind of likes to protect people. There may have been some injury stuff going on with Lance, who I'm not sure, but as far as like he definitely has the talent to be used a lot, but he is an older guy. He's in his mid 40s, but you wouldn't know it. He is kind of a like a monster of the month kind of guy, kind of like a Kane, I would say, but has, I think, way more ability than like either Kane or Undertaker. As far as who he's programmed with going forward, you know, I don't know. If you know, I'd like to see him in Wardlow. You know, I don't know if he's a babyface right now. That might not work. But if you can flip this guy heel or babyface on a dime, I think. But him and Wardlow would be some big dudes thumping that can move. So sign me up for that one.
Most definitely. What I was about to say, I forgot what I was about to say, but yes, I would love to see more of Lance Archer. You can do some things with him, and to add to what you're saying, because some people didn't know that Lance Archer really been wrestling for a long time. He's like 20 years in, 25 years in. He's basically like AR Fox. Lance Archer is one of like he's been around, and he's finally getting his due. But he has had a lot of injuries. He's injury prone, but he's a great talent. So I'm gonna move on to the main event. We had Action Andrade versus Sammy Guevara. I do want to point out Action Andrade promo. He's really great at doing promos. The promo that he did cut, during the, before Mark say it's time for the main event. He cut a really great promo. Action Andrade, I feel like me personally is going to be the one to look out for because he's good on the mic and he's good in ring. Sammy Guevara, he's still trying, he's still trying to put in good light because he has a bad taste in fans' mouth. Some people are still not over everything. I know I made my jokes. I've made my jokes, but he's great at what he's doing in the ring. What did y'all think about this main event? Because I feel like my theory of what I've been saying that it really boils down to Daniel Garcia versus Sammy Guevara, which we will end up getting because that's the real story in this Jazz and Ricky Starks feud. Is more of who is the better right-hand man for Jericho. What did you think of the main event? I'll start with you, Rich, this time again.
Love this. These guys' style is like right up my alley. I love like the high pace flips, fast paced wrestling, and when like Action Andretti popped on the scene, I was fortunate to have caught his dark match against QT Marshall. So when they brought him out there, I was like, oh, this isn't some bum. Before the match happened, I'm like, this dude's actually raw. Let's see if they do anything with him. And then that was the match where he did the upset with Jericho. As far as like what happened last night, Sammy's the perfect guy to put him in there with. I think Andretti kind of reminds me, the way he moves around the ring is kind of like a young Finn Balor. But if Balor did flips, like, which is like, I don't know. I just kind of got that vibe from him. I think Sammy at this point is just about consistency for him because I feel like he's one of the best wrestlers in the company. And I just think he's going to have to work. Just now stop me if you've heard this phrase before. He's going to have to work twice as hard to get half as far. But it comes from a lot of stuff, like maybe it's even self-induced, but he's going to have to just, consistency is going to be his greatest friend. If he can just wrestle his way through it, we've seen guys like go through difficult times in their career. Just keep your head down and keep throwing up 4-star matches on the board. And I thought this was a real good way to close out the show, especially like what we opened up Rampage with. It was a good night at Rampage. And they did like the dirty finish at the end to kind of, put the match in Sammy's hands. But Action is not somebody you should really forget about. There's some people doing this. What's happening to Action and Andretti? He beat Chris Jericho a couple months ago. But like, I think people are kind of missing the point when they look at it like that. I think you launch somebody to the stars, like you shoot for the moon and then hope you hit the stars, right? Yeah. So like you give him the big win and then ultimately he's going to land or settle where he's going to be before you take another shot with him again, I think. And he's a young wrestler. He's barely been around wrestling, maybe like less than 3 years. He's already on national television, has a lot of people believing in him. And I think he's definitely a great long-term prospect, and especially like when you look at the history of this promotion, like last year it was Garcia and Wheeler Yuta getting that elevation. A couple years before that, it was like you were watching Sammy and Darby. Like this is the life cycle of Tony Khan's booking. Like he's always looking for a young wrestler to kind of like get in these spots. He kind of runs it like a soccer team, so it's like he's constantly kind of building the next guy behind the next guy behind the next guy. It's like all these layers. So you just only hope that someone doesn't get lost in that. And I think thus far, like as far as the young wrestlers, he's done a good job with that.
What about you, Lau?
Yes, I definitely think that this match was perfect for a Rampage main event. High spot after high spot. And for sure, for all intents and purposes, I really think that this was a really great week for Sammy. Going back to the All Access announcement, and then with this particular main event on Rampage, right? I feel like just as far as the match goes, he plugged himself into pockets where if you're watching this match, like as a casual, Action Andretti didn't necessarily expect. And I'm definitely, I'm all for what this guy's doing. Definitely another town guy. His work in his work in MCW and his work in GCW has definitely stood out. Excuse me. And I remember, on Elevation, I believe he took that first L to Dante Martin. And I remember that first match being like, man, like I really hope Action get this one. But it was a good showing. But he's definitely prime time. You know what I mean? He's definitely all for the show. I was definitely, I'm going to just say it again. I was really impressed with what Sammy did in this match. You know what I mean? Plugging certain moves in, seeing if one day they might, even be a finisher to be able to finish a match. But it was amazing for me. High spots, springboards galore. And I'm definitely impressed with the year and with the, particular run, as Rich said, that Action is having, being on the Jericho cruise, things like that. You know what I mean? So I'm really all for what he's doing right now and definitely what he brings to a show such as the Jericho Cruise and like the exclusive closed circuit that is, but also being able to branch out and do, dope shit on Friday nights on Rampage.
And Action Andretti is like catching strays, just being like someone that, people feel like Jericho kind of tapped him on the head. So he's having to kind of out wrestle that perception around him as well.
Yeah, and I was about to also say that Action Andrade, he owns every moment he's on, like big or small. Like if I'm here to just job, I'm going to job the best way I can so I can get out there. Like he takes in every single moment. And it's refreshing to see because you have people that they take a moment and they just they get so nervous and they get so overwhelmed with the moment that they just you could tell from the ring that they kind of either fuck up in the ring or they kind of mess up the spots where they're supposed to be. But Action Andrade he's there with confidence. From the promo, from being in the ring on what he's supposed to do, he's just really, really confident. And I'm ready to see more of him. Because I was there when the upset happened. I lost my voice. I cussed out everybody. I told everybody to shut up. It was crazy. Now we're going to get into my favorite segment. We're going to get into women business. All men, shut up. If you have something to say, raise your hand. I will call on you. Graham, put it on. You already know.
This is what you need to do. You need to stay out of women business.
Yeah. All right. Women business time. On Dynamite, we had Sky Blue versus Saraya. I saw the comments and stuff. Sky Blue did an amazing job. Sky Blue is definitely improving in the ring. She is doing a phenomenal job. She's done a great job. Saraya is still getting rid of the ring rust from not wrestling in years. So she did better this week. So I'm not going to be hard on Saraya because she did better this week. Okay. So kudos to them. And of course, it's continuing on the feud of the ex-WWE girls and the AEW girls, because after that match, we end up having Ruby Soho and Jamie Hayter and all of them. They all came out. And then Ruby Soho, she's showing that she wants that AEW women's title. She don't care about what's going on. She cares about that title. So I'm interested to see how they're going to do that with that. It's just a lot going on, but we'll see. We'll just have to wait and see, okay, ladies? Also, Jade Cargill cut a promo. She is letting it be known that she wants some real competition out there for the TBS Women's Championship. So, if you in the comments, I'll give you permission to put who you are interested to see who Jade Cargill wants to face, because we already heard that she wants to be in a major storyline. She's tired of facing jobbers, but you got to crawl before you walk. You know what I'm saying? But she's coming for anybody. If you want this TBS title, because y'all kind of not treating the TBS title as serious as the AEW Women's Division title. If you want the TBS, I'm with for whoever wants it. So we'll see who the next opponent is for Jade Cargill. Hopefully You know what I'm saying? It's not one of, you know, we get somewhere. We get it going, okay? Also, of course, the AEW AXS, of course, you have Britt Baker is going to be featured on there. They did, it looks like Jade maybe, because she did tweeted something. Of course, Tay Conti is going to be on there, and some more, probably a few other ladies. So we're going to tune in to AEW's All Access. I see somebody say Sheeta. No. Okay. No, we're not there yet. We gotta crawl before we walk now. Not Sheeta, okay? No, y'all, come on, y'all. Come on, y'all. Okay. On Rampage, we had Willow Nightingale versus Toni Storm. I love Willow Nightingale and Toni Storm. They have great in-ring chemistry with one another. They communicate. They get their spots correct. They are just good in the ring together. I could see them two wrestle each other all day, every day. I would not get enough of it. Like, I love seeing them two wrestle in the ring. Toni Storm is so comfortable wrestling against Willow. Willow is comfortable wrestling against Toni. It's great communication. It's all about communication, ladies, in the ring. You communicate, you trust one another. These two, they have great chemistry. Probably one of the best chemistries in the ring at AEW for the women's division thus far. We had that, and then of course Toni Storm took the dub. She was about to spray paint that beautiful black woman, and they came in and rescued the queen and was like, no, bitch, you're not about to do that to her. So we had that happen on Rampage. I also want to get on the unfair criticism of Saraya. Saraya has ring rust. She hasn't been wrestling. Some of these people that are giving Saraya a hard time was getting on people for giving CM Punk a hard time when he came back. That's not fair. Y'all wouldn't have done that if it was another man. Y'all didn't do it to Edge. Y'all didn't do it to CM Punk. Do not do it to Saraya, because that is not fair. She is getting her feet wet. She is getting there. So if you didn't do that to CM Punk, don't do that to Saraya, because you're just showing how much you don't like women. It shows how much you are a hypocrite, and we don't need that, especially if you in content. If you in content and you spoke on and you gave the excuses that CM Punk ain't been wrestling for a while, let's be patient, but you giving Saraya hell, you are the problem. Don't do that, okay? We don't need to do that, okay? Because y'all show y'all ass when it comes to women, but y'all be patient as hell when it comes to these men. If you was patient for CM Punk, I need you to be patient for Saraya. And also, the demo shit did start. Saraya shit was high, okay? So leave her alone. Give her time. It's going to take time, but she getting there because she did good this Dynamite. She wasn't trash. She's getting better. She hasn't wrestled in years because she had a broken neck. Keep in mind, she had a broken neck, okay? So y'all need to chill out, okay? Because like I said, if you didn't do it to CM Punk, if you didn't do it to Edge, do not do that to Saraya, because that shit is not fair, okay? And my AEW Women Business of the Week goes to Sky Blue. Sky Blue, she impressed me this week. She always do. She improves each match she does. So I saw her more on the ROH flyers, so I don't know if Tony's going to have her more on ROH, but I would love to see her added to the AEW's women's division. But I also do know that ROH do need some more women, so she will make a great face for the AEW ROH women's division, because they do have Willow Nightingale at AEW, so it does make sense if they end up having her at ROH. So that's it for my women business. If anybody got a question, if anybody got a comment, raise your hand. I will call on you. Anybody? Go ahead, Rich Latta. The floor is yours.
What if you did give it to Edge and CM Punk?
Then you okay. You can say what you want to say. It was some people that I've seen that didn't do that to CM Punk, and they doing it to her, and I didn't like it. But if you kept the energy the same, then you fine, okay? You keeping that same energy. But if you didn't keep that same energy, then I'm talking to you.
Yeah, I think I just have concerns whether Saraya I think some of this has been corrected kind of with the heel turn. But I think some of her promos have kind of been like this, like, all right. Cody gave us like this line that I think is like, it just perfectly describes what the situation may be with people coming into AEW. It's either, do you understand the mission or not? And for a while, it's just like was feeling like Saraya just didn't understand the mission, but and she was like kind of striking out as babyface. I think it's much more tolerable as a heel. I think the question and the problem is like, ultimately, do we want to see her fight against someone like, with her and Britt Baker? Like, that match was like, rough at the pay-per-view, and then like for her to be, put in a championship position, like Jamie Hayter's been coming out here like not missing. So like, I think people are concerned. They're like, all right, maybe this is happening a little too fast, and it may not necessarily feel all earned thus far, but it remains to be seen. If you say give her some time, Keeks, I'll give her some more time.
Yeah, just give her some time. Now, Tony, please don't do what I think you may do. Don't give her that title at Revolution. Don't do it. Don't do it, okay? Just we understood with CM Punk. Don't do it with this Saraya, because we thriving right now. We don't need that, okay? She's not ready. But I mean, I don't know. You got something to say, Lo? You had to say on Women Business?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna say too much, but I definitely was impressed by Sky Blue. If I'm not mistaken, I think like at a certain point in this match, I don't know, it was like a leg sweep or something. I think it was like a callback to like AJ Lee and her 2014, some WWE stuff. But I definitely noticed it. I got to go back and see. I don't know. It struck me at the moment. I got to go back and see it. But what I will say is, this definitely comes up in all industries, right? When, there's someone coming back that may identify as a female or as a woman, we always get like those harder critiques, right? That was something I've seen in a lot of the YouTube comments, right? On the particular minutes that they included on YouTube, on the AEW YouTube channel. And it was just a lot of guys saying like, yeah, the ring rust is showing, I see this a lot of times when in battle rap as well, right? When it's a person we didn't see have, a performance for so long, when they come back, it might be a stumble or something, this and that, but like the men face way less, criticism. But yeah, I definitely think Saraya is, she's climbing, right? She's getting there. I'm definitely seeing like shades of that 2013, 2014 page, in this iteration at Saraya. But yeah, man, I definitely think that we all, probably should give her a bit more time. But I definitely agree that like the title shouldn't go on her yet.
Yeah.
You dig what I'm saying? So, even if like, Jamie retains or whatever the case is, but I really like what Ruby is getting into. I really like the mix up, and I really want to see like, which side is which, and what she ends up doing. And it's just a real hot spot for me, like to see her entrance, and then like Jamie's entrance during these, particular situations, with this whole feud. So, I'm definitely excited to see, what happens during the weekend.
Most definitely. So that's it for IEW's Women Business. You know what I'm saying? Make sure y'all cop the Women Business shirt. So we're on Revolution Week. The card has been out. I don't know if it's official card, but they put more matches on the card. It's one of the pay-per-views that people have not been hyped for due to AEW being a little bit underwhelming for the past few weeks. But I am still looking forward to Revolution, because when it comes to the actual card, it was just like Forbidden Door last year. Like, people was just like, this is not, but then when Forbidden Door happened, it ended up being a great pay-per-view. So I'm not going to question the cards, because when we actually see it, it may turn out to be a great ass pay-per-view. Are you excited, or are you, I'm going to ask y'all just briefly, what are y'all looking forward to most on the road to Revolution? I'll start with you, Lo.
I mean, I think that the build to this particular show, I think, so like, this is the thing, right? Definitely, this is All Elite with Keeks and friends, and, we're talking about All Elite Wrestling. So to kind of go back a little bit, I feel like AEW has always been more scrutinized and under the microscope even more. When it comes to these particular like shows, you know what I mean? Like we definitely had like the first, whoa, what's going on in the wrestling business when, you know, All In was first announced, right?
Yeah.
And people always had these very high expectations and things like that when we went into All Out. And then once you go into Double or Nothing, and then you got, you know, like the Mox debut, and it's very, you know, like Tony is an effort. You know what I mean? Like regardless of what we say, the jokes we make in this and that to the third, like he's doing quite a job. You see what I'm trying to say? But to lean even further to this particular show and at this time, I think that a lot of people are trying to shade AEW and what they're trying to do at Revolution, and even some of the ROH stuff that's coming up right with the Supercard because it's Mania season, right?
Right.
And so when New York, right, and, you know, the Fed, this and that to the third, etc., takes a front seat finally, right, in the wrestling business, as they've been, I guess, in a certain way, right? We got the Bloodline, which, you know, I'm definitely impressed with, but that's not what we're talking about tonight. But with this particular show, I definitely think that, you know, we as in All Elite supporters, you know what I mean, people that want to see All Elite wrestling flourish, I think that we definitely need a good revolution, right? And I definitely think that, you know, certain people need to be, you know, just showing a few things, you know what I mean, by Tony and company. And I just think that for me, I'm definitely looking forward to pretty much the whole card. I think the card is really flush. I think it's a slam dunk by Tony. No pun intended necessarily. But I just think that, you know, people just need to give this company a chance to really get its motors running. You know what I mean? Like this is year 3 going into year 4. So, you know, I definitely think that like when those types of things are said by people online and things like that, it's always something else that's kind of like the distraction away from, you know, some of the really creative things that's going on in All Elite Wrestling. But I'm definitely looking forward to the whole card. I'm definitely looking forward to see Ricky and to see what Jericho does. I'm definitely looking forward to that main event. I definitely need Max Jake Freak to show me something. You know what I mean? I definitely need him to, you know, like we said, you know what I mean? We probably expect the certain result that we are going to get, right? But I really need to see that work rate a little bit more. And definitely, you know, I just want to see what Ruby does. That's standing out to me right now as well.
What about you, Rich? What are you looking forward to in AEW's Revolution this week?
I'm definitely looking forward to the Texas Death Match with Jon Moxley and Hangman Page. I think that's the one great storyline that is going into this show. Unfortunately, it was built up through like a legitimate injury towards the end of last year, but I think that just gave them so much to play with when you talk about their LA match and the subsequent rematches and just how these guys have communicated with one another and the possible fallout of it, like possibly breaking into like an elite Blackpool Combat Club summertime showdown. And besides that, definitely looking forward to the trios match, the Elite versus the House of Black. And if there's one thing to never bet against is the Elite on pay-per-view.
Right.
You find me the last bad match these guys had on a pay-per-view. And, you know, it's a little light story-wise. Like, they've been doing stuff on Rampage. There's been, you know, not really much interaction with the teams, just some spooky stuff. I'm hoping this week we get to either see, like, maybe, like, a singles match between, you know, some of the members or, like, you know, some type of promo. Because since the Elite have come back, they haven't really let them, you know, get on the microphone and kind of really state their mission statement. They've just kind of been defending championships. They were in the best of 7 and you know, messing with Top Flight and all that. But, like, I really want to hear, you know, kind of like what they're kind of aiming for right now. And you know, matching them up with Malachi Black, Brody King, Buddy Matthews, like, these are 6 awesome workers, and they're going to go in there and tear the house down. Like, I was at Revolution 2022 in Orlando, and House of Black were on a pre-show match with, I think it was Pac, Ray Phoenix, and I think it was your boy Eric Rowan, and they had a hell of a match on the pre-show. So, like, you know, it's about a year in the making for them to really do something. And I think some of the stories are peaking kind of at different times. Like, they're moving at different speeds. Danielson and MJF has got that long kind of traditional build. Your mileage may vary whether you're into it. Like I said, I feel like they've been up and down, but they're peaking at the right time, so that's good. Joe and Wardlow, They basically have kind of crafted this thing intermixed with Darby Allin, and this should be, I think, their final. This could be the blow off, their final showdown, so to say. And I'm a big Wardlow fan, so I'm hoping Wardlow can recapture some of the energy he had last year for sure.
Right, most definitely. I know for Revolution, I am looking forward to the Texas Death Match. I'm eager to see Scarfman in the 60-minute match. I just want to see what he can do as well. So I agree with you too, Lo. I'm eager to see how they do this triple threat with Ruby Soho, Jamie Hayter, and also Saraya. Because speaking of that, Chris Statlander has a new merch that released today. And it's kind of matching the logo of Revolution. So I don't know what's about to go on. I'm trying not to get my hopes up because that's who I've been waiting on to come back. That's my girl.
Shout out to Statlander.
Yes. So, and I'm also looking forward to Elite in House of Black. But I'm pretty sure it's more on the card. My memory charged my mind, not my heart, y'all. Yes, I'm actually looking forward to that too. The AEW World Tag Team Championship match. Jeff Jarrett in his first AEW pay-per-view match. So I am looking forward to that too. That's gonna be fun. So we just have to wait and see, y'all. We just have to wait and see on Revolution. So
I think like Lo mentioned, like there is a lot of scrutiny, and then I would say that scrutiny sometimes is unfounded because if you look at the history of like AEW delivering on pay-per-view, it's usually like they put a match of the or show of the year contenders typically like 3 out of 4 times a year. At least it feels like, and they're coming off full gear, and that was an excellent show. And like you said, with Forbidden Door, it was a lot of the same energy. It was like, man, I don't know, like, what's going on. And, a lot of that stuff with Forbidden Door was wrecked by injury and literally getting rebooked on the fly. There are stories that the day of that thing was being rebooked. Mm-hmm. So it was, I think a lot of this stuff is kind of gone like under the radar, and it's kind of peaked at different times, but on game day, like these are a lot of wrestlers with a lot of pride, and they're gonna come out there and Elite Trios match, Danielson 60-minute match, Samoa Joe on pay-per-view, Jon Moxley on pay-per-view, Hangman Page in a big match. These people are not about to fail out here.
Right, because on Forbidden Door, Orange Cassidy and Will Ospreay toured, like they turned that up, and that was probably the best match of that year. It was my match of the year of 2022. So I definitely agree with both of y'all. So we're gonna get into y'all wrestlers of the week before we get up out of here. Rich, who is your AEW wrestler of the week?
I'm going to go ahead and go left field with this one. I'm just so happy to see him back, but Christian is going to be my wrestler of the week. This guy, is setting up this feud with Jack Perry. Maybe they get added to Revolution. I think that he's doing such a great job coming back, because a lot of times you see guys come back, they're chasing the cheers, they're chasing the welcome back. He's not interested in none of that. He's interested in being despicable. He is interested in Jungle Boy's mother. He is interested in he is interested in being hated and standing in the way and being a roadblock for a young wrestler, because he's an old, crusty guy that sees the time.
Crusty.
He sees the time slipping away. Even though he's fresh dressed, like in the the turtleneck. He sees the time slipping, and he may be broke. According to Jungle Boy, because of the wife may have taken his money. So there's a lot to explore there. But I'm gonna go with Christian coming back and setting it off on Jungle Boy.
What about you, Lo? Who is your AEW wrestler of the week?
For me, my AEW wrestler of the week is Evil Uno. See, it was a lot said. Right. This was very definitely very, very, very triple mania type graphics we were getting out of this particular match. And to see him, attempt to come back in the way he did against a guy such as Jon Moxley, that is no stranger to this, right? And we see what ended up happening, right? Like seconds before the show ended, before the trademark went up. And for me, he's the wrestler of the week because to be in a primetime spot like this with a guy such as Jon Moxley, who is used to this, like he does this, you know what I mean? This has been a guy I think we've all followed since the early iteration days of Jon Moxley. Follow him into the E with, you know, the Shield and the DA days. And, you know, this, you know, to kind of go back a few minutes ago to, you know, reference Double or Nothing, you know, against a guy such as Kenny, I definitely believe that, you know, Jon Moxley is probably top 5, if not top 3 biggest pro wrestling stars in the world today, right? When that Wild thing comes on and everything, right? But, you know, for me, Evil Uno, you know, doing what he did and, you know, definitely kind of having a bailout in a way and kind of seeing Jon get out of there in such, you know, a way in which he did some pretty shitty things. The wrestling that Evil Uno brought to this match, the responses that he brought in this particular main event on Dynamite, for him, he definitely takes the AEW, you know, lowest wrestler of the week.
Okay. For y'all wrestler of the week. Okay, so my AEW wrestler of the week is gonna go to Orange Cassidy, Mr. Rampage, Mr. All Atlantic, the fighting champion. Orange Cassidy never ceases to amaze me. He's a great in-ring wrestler, great talent. I love Orange Cassidy. He did so well. He doesn't have to do none of those promo stuff. And when Orange Cassidy talks, and especially if it's something serious, you listen. When Chris Statlander had the match with Britt Baker for the AEW Women's Championship, and he yelled at Chris Statlander, said, "Get your ass in that ring," everybody was silent, like, "Oh shit, we never seen Orange Cassidy like this." So I love Orange Cassidy, so he is my AEW wrestler of the week. My black business of the week, it goes to For Your Wear. He's doing a great job. Getting black wrestlers that's in indie wrestlers and also in content. So if you are an indie wrestler or in content, you should check out For Your Wear to get your distribution and stuff started. I do have my merch is on his site as well. So get with For Your Wear. That's my black business of the week, ending Black History Month. So we're going to get into Goofy of the Week. The Goofy of the Week goes to these AEW fans that are fucking miserable on these timelines. Listen, we used to have fun. I don't know what happened, but we used to have fun. AEW fans, we used to have fun. We need to get back to the basics because some of y'all is fucking miserable.
Man.
Punk fans, most of it is CM Punk fans. If you a CM Punk fan, that's who is miserable on my timeline. It's always y'all. It is always them. I don't know what it is, but you CM Punk fans and you FCR fans and y'all AEW fans, y'all need to, I don't know what y'all need to do, but y'all miserable. Y'all is causing shit to be unfun in the AEW fun world. Because something wrong with y'all. Tony Khan, stop getting on that side of the AEW fans Twitter and get back to the fun side because we ain't doing that shit. That's them. Get away from them. Leave them alone. They miserable. So if you a CM Punk fan, that's y'all. That's all y'all that's being miserable. So the AEW miserable.
Oh!
They gonna storm your comment section. You
man.
show that clip a couple more times.
Do it one more time.
They gonna descend.
Show it one more.
Oh!
Rock the jaw.
Malik said I'm blaming Bret Hart.
Man, I love Bret Hart, but they was taking too far, man. It was like, y'all making me question whether I need to like Bret Hart like y'all, man. Y'all just doing too much,
right? I gotta say something like, whose side are you on, Bret?
It's so embarrassing.
It's getting out of hand at this point.
For Hitman fans, yeah.
The Punk and the Elite war is still continuing on our end. I'm Team Elite, by the way. I bang the Elite. I don't know what the thing is, but
the E.
Yeah. The E. I'm banging the E. I'm banging the E. CM Punk. Yeah, so it's the CM Punk and the FCR. Some of y'all are kind of miserable, okay? Y'all are taking the fun. Y'all are starting to be a little bit too technical on fun matches that are meant to be fun. Y'all are critiquing a little bit too much. Speaking of the main Eagles fan is here. I have one of them on here. I told her that you left the flag up, so he's happy that you left the flag up, Mama.
I appreciate seeing that every time I log on.
Oh my God!
To All Elite with Keeks with friends, you know what I mean. Sometimes, most times it's up, but it's like I just want to say that in the Dallas household, for that flag to be up, I will tip my Philadelphia 1980s World Series cap and just say thank you, Mom, for representing us well. That wing and everything that comes with it, the midnight green. Everything I definitely appreciate it, Mom. Thank you so much. We got a lot of Philly things going on tonight. We got Iverson's high school jersey, 1980s.
Oh my God!
It's
well represented.
Yeah. We'll be at Mania in Philly. We know Mania will be in Philly next year. Oh my God!
There we go.
We know. Okay, so y'all, I'ma have a drawing on Saturday. No, actually on Revolution, before Revolution. I'm gonna have a drawing. First 25 that DM me that wants to be in the drawing, it's your chance. You may win 150. I feel I'm in the giving spirit. So first 25, you DM me, no cost, none of that. Just DM me that you want to be in the drawing. I'm gonna do a drawing at Revolution and more details on the timeline. I'll let everybody know. Any announcements? Do you guys have any announcements before we get out of here? Lo, you have any announcements you want to make?
I just want to thank and appreciate y'all. Shout out, Public Enemies, you know what I mean, the main channel. Shout out All Elite with Keeks and Friends, Rich Latta, you know what I mean, the incomparable. You know what I mean? It was my pleasure to be on here with you tonight. For myself, y'all can follow me at Lo For Real, 2 R's on Twitter, Lorenzo For Real on Instagram. Definitely a lot of things coming forward. I'll be on Black Guy Wrestling Podcast sometime in the spring. Almanac show sometime during the upcoming Mania season. And, I just definitely appreciate being on here with y'all tonight, being able to, talk this crap shit and just have fun. You know what I mean? As Steve was saying, just have fun. You know what I mean? So those are the announcements for me. I definitely appreciate y'all. Thank you. A lot coming soon.
Rich ain't the only rap up in here. I can rap too, man. Hold up. I done came down. I can rap too. What you mean?
It's the rapping. It's everything. He hold the flag. You know what I mean? You seen him. You know what I mean? He moving around. You know what I mean?
It's just a battle. I can rap battle too. I can do all of it. Man, hold up.
I'll be Smack. I'll be Remy Ma. Y'all can battle. Let's go.
Rich, do you have any announcements you want to make?
I just want to say thank you for letting me come on. Lo, pleasure speaking with you as well. And Keeks has been a long time coming. Glad to we definitely need more voices like you, doing your thing and all that. And it was just I was fortunate to run into your account and just saw you taking on matters that I would love to speak on in a more uncut way that I just don't. But I was just like, Keeks will get it. It's all good. I actually do have an album coming out on Friday. It's actually already available for purchase directly from me. You can check me on my Twitter. It's written at RichLatta32 right there. But Friday on my album Dream Machine will hit all DSPs. And you guys can check out my wrestling podcast with One Nation Radio on the Social Suplex Podcast Network. We also stream Monday nights on Twitch typically as well. And also we have like the YouTube and we do the clips and all that. So, shout out to Public Enemies as well.
Yeah, so make sure y'all get Rich Latta's new album on Friday. I'm definitely going to have to tune into the new album. Thank you guys for joining the show. Lo, I know you were supposed to be on here the last time things happened, but I'm glad that you joined in with Rich Latta. I'm glad you came on the show as well. Thank you, fellas. Make sure y'all follow them on Twitter, all of their social outlets. Make sure y'all support them as well on everything that they do. They are really great. Rich Latta, I do tune in to Open Radio. I do tune in. So thank you for joining. I do love your content. Lo, I don't know when you getting back on the podcast then.
It's a lot going on. You know what I mean?
Yeah, okay.
We might be seeing a lot of things being controlled in the next few months. So, look out for that. Shout out to my guy. Shout out to Naj. Shout out to Rito. It's all good. There's a lot going on.
I get it. I understand. But I really thank you, fellas, for joining me. Make sure y'all follow them. Make sure y'all follow me. Make sure y'all follow Public Enemies podcast. If now I ain't do no ROH nothing, so they will do it. So listen to them on Wednesday because they will cover it. I wasn't covering all of this today. It's too long. So I wasn't covering it, but make sure y'all tune into Revolution. Next month it is Women's History Month. All month, all Elite with Keeks. All I'm having is women guests. So it's gonna be ladies' night every night on my show. It is Women's History Month. April, I will be in Chicago for the Women of Color panel. So me and Mama Keeks will be out there. So if you're in Chicago area or you going to the Comic-Con, I'm grateful to meet you guys. I don't have issues speaking my mind, so make sure you have your cameras because I'm going to be saying what I feel.
Get your tape decks ready.
Yeah, get your tape. I say what I feel and I mean what I say. So I will be speaking on that panel. Also, make sure y'all tune in every Monday live. Y'all subscribe and everything. Other than that, Graham, get my getaway music. Take me home.
You've mentioned a couple names recently. Who were they?
Listen, man. They call me the problem, but you could call me the can man, because anybody can get it. Africans, Americans, Dominicans, Mexicans, anybody can get it.